Jerry Jones, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, is in hot water because there's a picture circulating in the Washington Post of him blocking blacks from entering the high school. He's in a group of white people standing against desegregation back in 1957. He's 14 years old. He's there. He's a part of the mob that later went on to pelt black students with rocks, spit on them, turn them away, and it was another 2 years before that school was desegregated. Stephen A. Smith says just because Jerry Jones was standing there with a group of white kids that are blocking it doesn't mean Jerry Jones is blocking it.
When the picture was a still picture of him standing in the crowd and looking. That's the reason that we want to sit up there and assume anything about Jerry Jones. I'm not that guy. Is it plausible to believe that he was one of the people trying to prevent the school from being desegregated? Sure, but do we know? We do not.
Bullshit. There's nothing you can tell me, Stephen A. Smith, that will change my opinion on this. And for that, Jerry Jones, he understood what was going on. He knew the gravity of the situation. This was keep the niggas out of the school day. They talked about it in the churches, the corner store, the cafeteria, the dinner table. This is a time back in the day when people sat down with their kids and had dinner at the dinner table. Son, how are you doing? Chip, I'm doing fine. Pop, are the darkies trying to get into school? Yes, they are. Pop, you know, that was the conversation. We can't have that. No, we can't have that. You heard your mother. We can't have that. We got to block them. What is this country coming to? Well, I oughta. That's America. 1950s America. Some would say it's 2010 America too. But hey, we're gonna talk about the 50s right now, okay? So no, I don't believe that Jerry Jones was unaware of the significance of the moment, of what was happening in America at that time in Little Rock, Arkansas, North Little Rock, Arkansas. And I think that you, Stephen A. Smith, siding with Jerry Jones on this doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I'm not saying that Jerry Jones needs to be taken outside and beat about the head and neck for a photograph from 1957, but I am going to say that it's obvious that Jerry Jones, his statement about what he was doing there, why he was in that picture, is tone deaf as hell. And Jerry Jones obviously has handlers who prepped him for an article in the Washington Post when it came out, what to say when the camera was going to be on him and the mic was going to be put in his face and saying basically the equivalent of, He sounded like Joe Biden up there because he didn't say shit, okay? So that's bad. And anyone who buys this, he was just young and didn't know what he was doing, doesn't understand what desegregation meant in Little Rock, Arkansas, doesn't know the history of American schooling and desegregation and the blood, sweat, and tears and ass-kicking that black people took, the spitting on, the throwing of rocks, the sicking of dogs, the demoralizing. Now, you want to talk about demoralizing and denigrating of someone? Think about all the black people that got demoralized and denigrated, but just trying to go to a decent school. But Stephen A. Smith isn't on that side of the equation. He's on the side of defending the 80-year-old nearly billionaire, if not over a billionaire, Jerry Jones, from criticism. Oh my God, it can't be criticized. Because just be clear, Jerry Jones will not be canceled. You can't cancel the rich. You can only criticize them. So that's all we're doing. Stephen A. Jerry Jones knew what was going on that day because he's not an idiot.
Yeah, that was, 65 years ago, and a curious kid. I didn't know at the time the monumental event, really, that was going on, and I'm sure glad that we're a long way from that.
Even at 14 years old, he understands that the niggas are coming to town. They were coming to his school. All the kids had to know about it. The whole neighborhood, the whole state knew about it. Okay? This wasn't some one-off event, and he's there for a reason. He was there for a reason. It had to be something that was discussed in the Jerry Jones household, as in all households. Instead of owning up to it and saying, hey, we were afraid of change, we feared the unknown, I was caught up in the groupthink, I was 14, my parents felt a certain kind of way, the neighborhood felt a certain kind of way, my classmates felt a certain kind of way, and I brought into that, but I am not that person now, obviously. I've changed and grown. Cite this, cite that, cite the other things that you've done to demonstrate that that's just not who you are. And it makes you more sensitive to the issues that are at hand when it comes to race and whatnot. But Jerry Jones didn't do that. He lost the opportunity to deal with this with any level of conviction or seriousness, frankly. So that's on Jerry Jones. And why Stephen A. Smith wants to step into the line of fire on this makes no sense to me at all. But he did. And I think not only would him standing with Jerry Jones on this look weird, but this podcast made it weirder.
But we don't look at the big picture and the collateral damage enough. Instead, we're the only group of people who questions somebody else's ethnicity when we disagree with each other. If somebody else does it, I apologize. I just don't know about it. Never heard about it. I don't hear Jewish folks accusing folks of being non-Jewish because they disagree. I hear them not liking each other's views. I don't hear them questioning their Jewish authenticity. I don't hear white people saying, you ain't white no more. I don't hear Latinos saying, you ain't Latino no more. I don't hear that. If I'm wrong, I apologize.
What Stephen A. Smith has a problem with here is being called a sellout. He doesn't like it. Doesn't sit well with his spirit. And I understand that. No one wants to be called a sellout. But what are we really saying when we call you a sellout? Are we saying that you aren't black? When people question your blackness, it's not questioning if you look black, who your mama is, or who your daddy is. We're questioning what your politics is. We're questioning where you stand socially. Are you riding for us? Are you one of us? Are you fighting the fight for us? The struggle is everything for black people. Has been that way for 400 years in this country. Struggling to exist, struggling to prosper, struggling to maintain sanity, struggling to get our kids a proper education, struggling to able to buy a home. Redlining, Jim Crow, Jane Crow, whatever we're going through now, mass incarceration. So that's what we're talking about. And when you ask, do white people do this? Do white people question each other's ethnicity and their whiteness? Of course. That's what white supremacy is, Stephen A. You ever hear the term wigger? Yeah, it's something that white people call white people. We thought those white people was getting a little bit too black, thus questioning their whiteness. You ever hear the term nigger lover? Something white people call white people. This before they lynched white people for fraternizing with the blacks. See, yes. So, yeah. We were just criticizing you, Stephen A. We're not taking you out and tar and feathering you. We're not lynching you. We're questioning what your politics is. I wouldn't talk about the Latino part because you got that all fucked up. There is no Latino. That's something the Democrats made up. Something they use now for a voting bloc. Also, it's not missed upon me the amount of successful black people who talk about the pressure. They often talk about the pressure they're under and the scrutiny that they're under from black people, that they really talk about the adoration and the love that they get from black people. What about that part, Stephen A? I know what it's like, because I've worked in this political engagement, commentary, and journalism and reporting for quite some time. And it ain't nothing like black people telling me that they appreciate what I do. It hits different. I know you feel the same way. But instead of focusing on the positive aspects, when a brother or sister comes up to you and says, Stephen A., thank you for representing us. Thank you for holding us down. How you feel about how that makes you feel? How it makes your heart just glow? Get that warm feeling, blood coursing through your body. That, damn, it feels good to be black. Yeah, let's celebrate those moments.
The black community is no longer the dominant minority. That would be the Latino community. I wonder why that is. Could it be, perhaps, that they don't question one another's raw authenticity and ethnicity just because they disagree? No one does it but us.
Damn it, brother. I thought we were here to talk about Jerry Jones. Every time I turn around, you want to talk about people calling you a sellout. All right, fine. Let's talk about you being a sellout. Look, Stephen A., bro, if you're in a sellout, stop acting like one. Yeah, stop acting like one. Started with this Latino shit. Brother, there are so many different people that are considered Latino. It's a big bucket of anything brown that's that Indian. Trinidadians, Guatemalans, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Mexicans, Venezuelans, Hondurans, El Salvadorians, Colombians, Brazilians, Peruvians, Ecuadorians, and more. Anybody from Latin America is being put into the bucket called Latino. And you're saying, do they question each other? Yeah, all the fucking time. There are black Puerto Ricans and white Puerto Ricans and black Trinidadians and white Trinidadians and black this, yes. And then all these different countries have different politics. Cubans don't fuck with Mexicans. Mexicans don't fuck with Puerto Ricans like that. You don't understand these things? Stephen A., you spend a lot of time on your podcast talking about how successful you are. Haven't you traveled? I know this shit and I haven't traveled outside the country. How could you not know that all these groups don't fuck with each other? So stop saying Latino. It's some shit Democrats made up to take power away from the blacks. It's a construct that they're using to fuck us over and you're helping them. See, there you go with that sellout type shit. Ain't no Latino community. It's people that ain't black and people that ain't white. The end.
I know you don't mind, but you think he was there just to watch? How many black coaches has he hired? His equity work is what? I want to be educated. What has he done since to stem the tide of racism and exclusion? I could point to an inordinate amount of black athletes who've played for him, who swear by him. And black coaches, may not be head coaches, but black coaches who coach under him. But I won't go there. Instead, I'll ask a somewhat rhetorical, but very provocative question to you all. Is that his obligation? But what's his obligation? The obligation.
His obligation. What's his obligation? What does he owe us? He owes us everything. Everything. Do you really think that Jerry Jones would be successful owner, if it weren't for the black players on his squad? Do you really think there would be an NFL without black players? No, there wouldn't be. Same thing holds true for the NBA. Same thing holds true for music and fashion and everything else that makes America fun at all. Interesting in the slightest bit. Us. So yes, he owes us. Unfortunately, we live in a country where we've been exploited time and time and time and time again. I know that may seem okay with you. It's not okay with me, Johnson. It may not be typical for white elite people, 14 billionaire Jerry Jones, to give a shit about that, but I think that's why they wrote the article. To try to prod him to give a shit about that. You were undermining it, but you're not a sellout. Listen, it's not all on Jerry Jones. Of course, this applies to all owners, but the Dallas Cowboys is America's football team. It's the most successful franchise in the NFL. That's why they're fucking with him. Okay. I'm not saying it's fair. Not getting 40 acres in a meal wasn't fair. Redlining wasn't fair. School to prison pipeline isn't fair. The drug war isn't fair. Mass incarceration isn't fair. Environmental racism isn't fair. Gerrymandering isn't fair. Poll taxes to vote, not fair. Having to choose between Trump and Joe Biden, also not fair. There's a lot of not fair shit happening. So, like Stephen A, was you try to wrap your head around this thing. Just trying to help you out, bro. Trying to hook a brother up, you know what I'm saying? We need him to put something on our books, homie. In the way of giving us some power. He got it. We need it. Does he owe it to us? Yes. And that's the only way we're going to get it. We're not going to get it going, I don't want nothing. We don't need nothing. Don't ask him for nothing. Just be quiet and hope that he does the right thing. Nah, dog. The only thing that black people have going for us with white people in position of Jerry Jones is their reputations. What's said about them at cocktail parties? The ink. Things that are said on shows like this or your show. You know, because it's so publicized. Such a big platform. So that's where our currency truly lies. And you want us to squander that because you don't want to piss off white guys or rich guys or the rich or the white or the rich whites. You don't want to piss them off. We have to. We're 13% of the population. We own 2% of the wealth. We have to piss somebody off. This has to change. With 1% of the engineers, 1% of the female lawyers, 1% of the male lawyers. Are you getting what's going on here? If we do not push the issue, if we do not force the issue, black people will go bye-bye. That's why we got to fight for this. And even if some of your white friends don't get it, even if some of your black friends don't get it, it's important that you and I get it. They don't understand. They think it's equal. But if we were equal, we would not be having this conversation. We would not be talking about this. The average black family is worth 1/10 of the average white family. Meaning if the average white person woke up and had the net worth of the average black family, they'd blow their brains out. They'd all just get in the car in the garage and cut on the engine and let it idle with the door down. You want that to be about black people. It's about America, people. And yes, sometimes people do things that get them in their own way. That's true. But why are they in their own way? What are they trying to escape, Stephen A? And who built that?
Doesn't happen. You got people out there talking about him. Barack Obama. He was just the president of the United States. See, we love him now. But when he was in office, he's not doing enough. Before that, when he was campaigning to win office, he had to give a speech on race because of his affiliation with the Reverend out in Chicago. And when he didn't say certain things, or he didn't elaborate extensively as much as people wanted him to do, black folks then were talking about, well, what's he supposed to do? He can't say this, he can't say that, because he's trying to get elected. But then when he got elected, you couldn't understand how he had to maneuver his way through that political terrain in order to strive to get things done. Make up your mind. Make up your mind. It never stops.
Why did you got to bring up Obama? We didn't give Obama enough grace. We elected him twice. That's all you get, Stephen. He won re-election. Trump did not. The end. Did Obama deserve to win the second election? I wonder if he did. And it's true, Stephen. When you have the history that America has given black people, then we expect something of our leaders. If not, you might as well just have another white guy who ignores us. What good is having black elected officials, black faces in big places, if all they do is look black, but don't support black initiatives, don't react to black struggles and find solutions for black problems? We can get that out of a white guy or white woman. See, I think the problem are people like you who willing to accept that because you're doing well in life. Doesn't matter. Why would it matter to you? You'll say it matters to you, but if it really matters to you, you'd be happy that we were questioning and holding our leaders accountable. We should hold all presidents accountable. If anything, we gave Barack Obama a pass.
I have said this to y'all before, and I'm going to say it one last time. I don't expect white folks, Latinos, or anybody else to have the same sensibilities and sensitivities towards issues pertaining to the black community to the degree that we will have those sensitivities and sensibilities. They're not us. It would be nice that we receive all the help we could get. Civil rights legislation wouldn't have been passed if it wasn't from assistance from white folks who joined in the fight. And I get that, and I have an appreciation for that. But I understand it's always our fight. It's not somebody else's obligation to do what we should do for ourselves.
It's not anyone's obligation to do for us what we can do for ourselves. The problem is the plight that we are in, being 13% of the population, owning 1% of the wealth, 1% of the land, lacking the infrastructure. We're up against certain obstacles. People like to talk about how much money we spend. They don't talk about how much money we have. They talk about how much money we spend to live and what things we purchase, like hair products. They don't compare that to what white people spend, which is like 10 times more. But the point is this. We save more money than white folks, but we have less to save. We're more frugal, but we have less income in order to build, to invest, to retain wealth, or to gain wealth. So that's part of the problem. But I get your point, Stephen. I agree, man. I do agree that there are steps we need to take individually. I'm trying to take mine. There are many black folks taking their own steps. But this is about Jerry Jones, but you made it about everything else. So you've been all over the place in this podcast, but it seems like you had a lot on your chest that you wanted to get off. You want people to stop calling you coon. I get it. Not a very pleasant thing to be called. I know what it's like for people to denigrate you, to drag you. Hey, people drag me. It's happened. I was fighting against the progressives, calling them out for their racist tactics, their neoliberal bullshit, their liberal bullshit. You know how the liberals look down on the blacks? And there was a bunch of blacks who came for me. And then a year later, now they're trying to sing my tune. Yeah, that's what they do. It's what some people do. It's not what all of them do. It's not what all people do. It's what some people do. A certain set of people do. So I understand the frustrations. We all go through it. But bruh, this Jerry Jones shit is a bad look. Let that man ride his own horse. Never feel sorry for someone who owns their own plane. And I know he owns his own plane because you were on it with him. Yeah, you were in the seat. I never feel sorry for a man that owns his own plane. And stop trying to think for him. And yes, we should pressure him. What else can we do except pressure him? What else can we do except use the bully pulpit, use our sphere of influence, use whatever mechanisms we have in order to get this country to do right by its citizens? That's what all unions do. That's what all groups do. All groups lobby for what they want. You understand what it's like. You understand what we need. You understand black people are pushing you. Why are we pushing you? Because we need you. Powerful voice on our side. That helps. So we got to push you. We're pushing Jerry Jones. We're pushing all people in power. That's a necessity. As I said before, black people can't go away. They can't go bye-bye. They're already busting in blacks from other countries. And they're doing great jobs in the movies. What do we need us for? Us foundational blacks, the ones that built this country for free, against our will. We have to make them need us. We have to force the issue.
That is a fact. That's not me selling out. That's me looking out. I'm going to continue to call it like I see it. I'm going to continue to be fair-minded. And I'm going to continue to love black people in such a profound way that I express truth, even when it's unpopular, rather than join in the fray with the majority just because it's comfortable. That ain't what's going to uplift us from whatever abyss we appear to be in from time to time.
Mr. Smith, you said you're not going to join the majority to make us feel better. That's just it, Stephen. You have joined the majority. And it wasn't done to make us feel better. It was done to make you feel better. To make you live better. Shop better. Eat better. Be better off. Stephen, you know we're not the majority. We are the minority. And you're on the wrong side of history. You just are. But that's okay. I'm going to keep doing my job so you can keep doing yours. My brother. If you like your news uncut and raw, subscribe to this channel.